Here we go.
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have vowed to take away your Second Amendment rights through gun bans, gun confiscation, and government regulations. Now, Joe Biden is no longer hiding his real intentions, and we need you to take action now.
Whether it's a 9mm pistol or whether it's a rifle, is ridiculous. I'm continuing to push to eliminate the sale of those things. But
the Biden administration is coming after your right to own any gun, and we need you to text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221. Joe Biden has already issued executive orders. He is now demanding Congress push through radical gun legislation. You can fight back to stop Joe Biden's gun grab, but you must text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221. Take action to protect your right to keep and bear arms. We urgently need millions of Americans to text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221. Text PROTECT2A to 888-762-0221.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Daily Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me live, as he does every other Monday, Charlie Cook of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Charlie, you and I were talking before we went on the air just a few seconds ago, and you got a really cool Riding Shotgun with Charlie coming out tomorrow, man.
I do. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for bringing this up. I went to Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, and I interviewed Frank Tate, who is running for the NRA Board of Directors, and it was really good to talk with him. One of the things conversation is he laid out his plan to make changes on the NRA Board of Directors, and it includes things like term limits, making the board smaller, and having them much more accountable about the funds and where everything goes. And he says the NRA a board should be more strategic instead of tactical, and he thinks the NRA board is much more tactical than strategic right now. So that's going to be coming out tomorrow, and that was a really good interview, really good time with him.
Very cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. I need to reach out to Frank, see if I can get him booked for Polite Society in the near future too.
So this is completely off topic, but it's the fun stuff that I can do with video. We started at the Betsy Ross house.
Oh,
so we got a selfie of ourselves at the Betsy Ross house. I wanted to get a selfie in front of Independence Hall, but that didn't happen because there was nowhere to park. And above, I think it's the City Hall in Philadelphia, there is a statue of William Penn. And he says, if you look at the statue one way, there's a picture of Penn, and he's got his hand. It's kind of out flat like that. I mean, I'm putting this so you can see it, but his hand's down, but his arm's down, but his hand is flat. And he said it's kind of it's supposed to be William Penn looking to the future. And if you change your angles, it looks like he's actually peeing on the city of Philadelphia. so
as many people in leadership have.
Oh, it's not just the people and the leaders; it's the regular folks in the street too. But what I love about my show is I was able to find a picture of William Penn looking really good, and then one of the other angle, and I put those in the video as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you do get on those Riding Shotgun with Charlie's. You've been down to at Dallas. You were at Dealey Plaza.
Dealey Plaza, yeah. I do put a dash cam on. Which is pretty cool in case we get something that we see or something that we run across. And I had one camera on the side of my car to kind of look like it was a 1970s cop show. So that was pretty cool.
You ever get any? You need to get into one of these bullet style chases, and
right, yeah, right. I am trying to figure out how to get the stagecoach out to San Francisco, so that would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting out to San, maybe you could get old Crazy Nancy on one of your Riding Shotguns.
So I say this in jest and I say this jokingly, so please don't take it seriously. But when people have asked me if I would get some big anti-gun politician on the show, I always jokingly say that I would Thelma and Louise us. I'd leave a note and say, please take care of my kids. I'm doing this for our country.
There you go. And again, For anybody that's watching who may be on the edge, that is joking.
It's all a joke, obviously. They would never get in the car with me.
All right. George is already popping off with comments. He says, hello, 2A defenders. You are the true and righteous Americans. We need the 2A more than ever. Amen, George. Amen.
Absolutely. Great to see George.
Let's go ahead and let's get started with the news topics we have today. First one, as is usually the case, a bad guy with a gun is stopped by a good guy with a gun. We had a shooting late last week in Kansas, in Olathe, Kansas, and it comes out in the media what stopped that school shooting was a good guy with a gun. It was that there was a school resource officer there who actually got into a gun battle, was injured, stayed in the fight, and stopped the school shooting. You don't get that unless you have a school resource officer, or more importantly, in my case, in my opinion, if you have a faster program, you have armed teachers that are closer to the situation, can get there faster and end it faster.
Yeah, over the last couple of years, I've heard some other YouTubers and podcasters and radio folks not use the term first responders, but switch over to immediate responders. And teachers are the immediate responder. And if the teachers are armed, or if the resource officer is there and they're armed, they can respond immediately.
Yeah.
Which is obviously very. I mean, I don't know if you've seen. I'm sure you've seen the image of the meme that goes around that says that when there is a mass shooting and there are no armed citizens, an average of 14 people get shot, and when there's a mass shooting and there is an armed citizen, 2 people are shot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's obviously you have to have someone that's there and someone that has a firearm to stop things immediately.
Well, and let's break that down. People shot doesn't automatically equal people dead, as it did not in this case. People shot, both the school resource officer and the other adult that was shot survived this. And so people who are shot do not always die, especially if they are shot with a handgun. A handgun is a fantastic tool, but it kind of sucks as a killing machine. If you're shot by a handgun, if I'm remembering my statistics right, if you can get to a hospital within an hour, you are 90% likely to survive the wounding. So,
what is the instructor from Thunder Ranch? His name is Clint Smith. He likes to say you use your handguns put holes in people, rifles put holes through people, and shotgun takes off chunks of meat.
Yes. Very much
something along that lines, right?
Yes.
The thing that I don't know if you saw this story last week, and it was something I put on my biz page. There was a story about a police officer that shot they shot a teenager in the back. And when you
remember the story.
When you take a look at the story, you find out that the teenager, who was, I'm going to say 14, but they could have been 13.
I think go one more down, 12, if I'm remembering right.
Wow. All right. This kid doesn't even shave yet, They've got a handgun, which is illegal for them to have, and they're shooting at the police officers. And what I wanted to point out is if a 12-year-old is shooting at you, it was a 12-year-old, that's right. If a 12-year-old is shooting at you, or if a 42-year-old is shooting at you, which one is more lethal force? It's the same. So, and then, we learned in the Mag 40 class how fast someone can turn around, and then they shoot someone in the back, and now the narrative changes from there's a 12-year-old shooting at the police to the police shoot the 12-year-old in the back. And like I pointed out in the post that I put up, I said, hey, listen, a 12-year-old with a gun is the same lethal force as a 42-year-old with a gun. But a lot of people have the hard time of wrapping their head around of I'm shooting a 12-year-old. Well, and I get it, but if it's you or them, if you have the chance to save your life and save other people's lives, what are you supposed to do?
Let's circle back. I hate using that term because it's now been ruined. Let's think back to the George Zimmerman case. When George Zimmerman's attempted killer, because let's face it, The guy was attempting to kill George Zimmerman. He was attempting to beat him to death.
Yeah, and he wanted to try to get Zimmerman's gun so he could. What's he going to do with Zimmerman's gun once he have it? He's going to shoot Zimmerman.
Yeah,
yeah.
And I don't ever give killers credit on the air. So when Zimmerman is getting beaten and defends himself, saves his own life, what is the picture that the mass media uses? They use a picture of a 12-year-old, not the 19-year-old linebacker that is attacking Zimmerman. Because they want to play on the cute little 12-year-old.
He's just a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they didn't put the picture of him flipping off the bird to the camera and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Get a couple comments in here quick. George says, right now I think I need a fifth or a liter or whatever it might have shrunk to. Yeah, I get that. Hang on, it's going to be a 500 milliliter here in a little bit once inflation gets another crack at it. He also says, I have 3 fire extinguishers and a few guns. Whoever comes after I call 911 is the second responder.
You got it.
And then 2 of them that go to the one you were just talking about. John said he got the first shot into the police car, talking about the 12-year-old. And Roderick, man, you are dead on with your comment. Roderick says if he ran with the gun, he is still dangerous. Amen. The kid had just fired at least 1 round into a police car and is running with the firearm. That is the absolute definition of a dangerous person right there.
Yeah, this show really does have the smartest comments, the smartest viewers.
Yeah, hosts maybe not so much, but the viewers are top notch.
Oh, yeah. So that's I hate to say it's a happy ending story, but it is a happy ending story because obviously this could have been a lot worse.
Let's go to a story with not so much of a happy ending. Washington State. Yes, good. It's the home of SAF. Unfortunately, the legislature there passed a law. Now the law going forward is the maximum capacity you can buy for your magazines going forward in Washington State is 10 rounds. So Washington State, what I'm going to say from now on is Washington State is making you buy more concealable magazines.
Absolutely, and they're as a guy who lives in occupied territory where I cannot have high capacity magazines, and I know everyone busts my cookies for that. We can have them if they were made before September 13th, 1994. That drives the prices up on those magazines. There's a local store that has a little bin in their little whatever cardboard box, and when they do have pre-94 high cap magazines, they are $125 and up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I expect the same thing. Now, Washington, I just spoke today with Tom Walls. He's a trainer in Washington State. He's going to be, not this week, but starting next week, he's going to be one of the regular contributors that appears with me on the Daily Bullet. But
excellent.
They are the new law. You don't have to get rid of your old magazines. It's just new ones. So, I would say until this law takes effect, people who can get, standard capacity magazines in Washington, I would be getting on it.
Yeah, the interesting thing, if you the article does say that Palmetto State Armory is prioritizing magazines to the state of Washington. If you scroll down on the article, they've got the Washington magazine ban fact sheet, and it doesn't. I can't see who's the one that came up with this. But it says that it takes effect on July 1st, 2022. Anything that holds more than 10 rounds. Use of magazines, they can still be anywhere currently legal. proof, this is the stuff that gets me. If you owned them before July 21st, 2022, they're grandfathered in, and there is no proof of ownership.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to hang on to the receipts. You don't know when the magazine was made. You don't know when you had it, and you don't have to prove who the magazine belongs to. So it sounds like they're putting this in they're making this law, and it has no teeth to it.
Yep.
So,
sounds.
I mean, what's the sense of this? And then, of course, the other thing that I think is interesting is there is no law enforcement and military exemption. So the cops are going to be limited to 10-round magazines as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
This makes no sense. This makes no sense.
So what they're saying is Russia bypass Alaska and invade Washington state first. That's what this law is saying.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's unbelievable. And the crazy thing is the people that propose this think it's going to work, and I don't know why they think it would work. And I think somewhere in the article, someone pointed out that it's here it is. This is what it was that I was thinking. The gun owners' reaction over the weekend was nothing short of fury. One of the owners posting at the Legislative Action Facebook page stated, quote, "Today our legislator chose the anti-human rights lobby over public safety. Quit calling them anti-gun groups. Being able to possess a weapon to defend oneself from criminals and tyrants is a human right," end quote. Which I don't know who wrote that, but man, quit calling them anti-gun groups. I love that idea.
Yeah, they're anti-human rights. Amen. Let me get this one
now.
up.
Yeah.
George says, in California, we have a 10-round magazine limit, so nobody can be hurt until the 11th shot. Feel safe, people. Right. Feel very safe.
Right. The 11th one is the deadly one.
Yep.
I also, I'm not going to make you say this, but I absolutely love in the article, and I know the author of the article, Dave Workman, has strong Second Amendment Foundation roots, but some of the other people that are quoted in here talk about how the Second Amendment Foundation is the group that people need to support, and they are the ones that are that are fighting for this.
Yeah,
which is great. And he says you should join the Second Amendment Foundation. Here we go. The quote from another activist member of the Legislative Action Group posted this message. It said, quote, "The only group that can help us, and that definitely will help us, is the Second Amendment Foundation. They are responsible for all the lawsuits that are successful. We have a U.S. Supreme Court that will side with us. We just need an organization that is serious about bringing lawsuits, and there is no organization more serious than the Second Amendment Foundation. If you are not a member, you need to join. These guys fund lawsuits, and they're really good at winning. No, you won't get a free duffel bag or a free hat. But
that's made in China."
Right? But they will deliver us victories in the court that we need badly. So, the end quote. And that is that's a great quote. I mean, the Second Amendment Foundation is the one that's getting all this stuff done. And I said before that the NRA is the one. They're kind. I hate saying they're taking cover for everybody, but a lot of the what did he call it there? The anti-rights people. Mm-hmm. A lot of the anti-rights folks don't know who the Second Amendment Foundation is, or you've got an FPC shirt on. They don't know who FPC is. They don't know who Gun Owners of America is. They only know the NRA. So the Second Amendment Foundation can get stuff done. They can win court cases, and the NRA ends up taking heat for stuff. So, it's not some sort of strategy that everyone puts together, but it kind of works out that way.
Because Second Amendment Foundation pays the bills for this, I don't mind turning this into basically a commercial for SAF, because I believed this long before I was an employee for SAF. In the past 35 years, nobody has done more for getting our gun rights back, that includes the NRA, than the SAF. The SAF has won more lawsuits than anybody else, period. They continue to win more lawsuits than anybody else, period. Now, FPC does have a lot of lawsuits in the works, FPC does join with SAF in a lot of lawsuits. FPC does a lot of good work, and they do a lot of good work with SAF. But if you're going to choose, I beg of you, please choose SAF. We've got currently over 30 lawsuits in the federal hopper. That does not include state lawsuits. There are dozens more state lawsuits around the country right now. The slogan is winning gun rights lawsuits one lawsuit at a time, and winning our rights back one lawsuit at a time. That's no joke. I got to see the big check when I was in Washington at the home offices. I got to see the big check that was issued. Well, no, it was printed off. It actually,
right. It was the one for the city of Chicago.
Yes, and you know, the big checks. That's it's motivation. Really, that's all it is, because it doesn't cover the SAF's costs. It covers part of the attorney's fees. But yeah.
Yeah, when Derek LeBlanc and I were there just a year ago, I don't think we had a chance, but we wanted to sneak a selfie with that big check when Alan wasn't around, but we didn't get that opportunity.
It's in Alan's office, so yeah, you're not going to get to see the check unless Alan's around.
Right.
Let me get this one in here real fast. Jeff Cooper used to say the NRA was the only human rights organization that matters. You need to say 2AF or Second Amendment Foundation today. I don't want to say the NRA doesn't matter. I'm going to say the NRA doesn't matter as much as it did 2 years ago. And in light of things that have happened this week, we still need an NRA. We still need a strong and growing NRA. That's why it hurts me what's happened to the NRA the past year and a half to 2 years.
It's tough. It's tough. Something else that's in the article, it says that somebody writes and says that there are over 600,000 permit holders in Washington state. Mm-hmm. And if each of them sent $1 or better yet $10 a month to the organization, it would make a difference. So, you know, how many times do we hear politicians say, just for the price of a cup of coffee every day? Price of a cup of coffee every day for a month is way more than $10. Even if you go to a place that's only $1, you're putting $30 worth of coffee from a convenience store, whether it's a Cumberland Farms or a Casey's or
7-Eleven.
What do you guys have out there? Yeah, the 7-Eleven or the stores that you guys have
here in Sioux Falls. Here in Sioux Falls, I'm not kidding. It's Come and Go.
I didn't want to say it. If you go to any place for a coffee for $1 and you do that every day, you're spending more money on coffee that you can make at home than you are for chipping in some extra money for your to the SAF.
Yes, we've been working very hard. No kidding, it is the most challenging time that we have for human rights, specifically speaking to gun rights in the United States. It's more dangerous right now than it was in the Obama years, and we're fighting hard. And any help you can give, would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
We're coming up. We've got less than 10 minutes left. I want to get a couple more stories.
Yeah, get some comments.
Excuse me.
Comment stories. Let's do it.
I want to skip the bank story. I want to go straight to this one because this is a good news story. Looks like they're moving forward with a bill, Charlie, out of Tennessee, where they want to make it so that 18, 19, and 20-year-olds can now get a full concealed carry permit. Right now, as it stands today, you can only, if you're 18, 19, or 20 years old, you have to be active duty military, retired military. I don't know how you get to be retired military when you're 20 years old or less, but you have to be active duty or retired military to get a concealed carry permit in Tennessee. They want to make this now open to all 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in Tennessee.
Yeah, so I went through the article and took some notes, and that was certainly one thing I hit on. How can you be retired from the military at 19 years old? Like, you're barely in,
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sure there's some people out in the military that can let us know there is a way. But
Medically retired is the only way I can think. You go into battle, and you get injured.
Yeah, I mean that certainly makes sense. The thing with the 18-year-olds is this: we as society have decided that 18 is the age of consent, and 18 is when you get to be an adult, and it's 21 for cigarettes and alcohol. Mm-hmm. The same folks, and it's also 18 to vote. This stereotyping the political parties here, the folks that want to not let 18-year-olds carry also want to let 16-year-olds vote. Mm-hmm. And we all know that the brain isn't completely formed until you're 26 years old. So they're saying 18 years old is too young to be able to possess a firearm, but it's okay to get credit cards and car loans and college loans. And you should be 16 in order to vote. So, this is nuts.
Unless you want Lady Gaga running for senator, I don't think 16-year-old voting is a good idea.
I don't think Lady Gaga in office is a good idea.
Better than Hillary, but not by much, I don't think.
Right, like she would wear some interesting outfits to the to the events. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, the inaugural ball would be certainly a must-watch event.
She could be the entertainment at the inaugural ball.
Absolutely. And then I want one more story. I think we're going to have to close on that. We got less than 4 minutes, and tonight does have to come in at 30 minutes because I've got to turn around and get ready for Polite Society. But the shooting last week where a guy killed his 3 daughters and another adult, then himself in a California church. And I seen in media day, what caught me is the guy used a ghost gun. And when you dig into the story in the media, the big headline was it was a ghost gun. What is buried down in the story is the guy was an illegal immigrant who had a restraining order against him, had made multiple attempts, and flat out said, I'm going to kill my family and then myself. He had an ICE, and immigrations had requested to know when he got out of jail in the first place. They wanted to deport him. But California is a sanctuary state. California murdered those kids.
Other than that, you have no strong feelings. The same, man. I read the story. I got the notes. They said there was no motive behind this. Besides everything else that you talked about, 5 days before, he was arrested. He got in trouble for resisting arrest, for battery on a police officer, and a DUI. So it doesn't sound like he's turning his life around or anything like this. He's got some motive. He's telling you he wants to harm his family and himself. He was in the country illegally. His visa expired. And like you said, because of the sanctuary state status, ICE did not let the local police know.
You reverse it. The local police didn't let ICE know.
There we go. Sorry about that. And the other thing is the sanctuary policy, the sanctuary states, sanctuary cities. They haven't been working since the Obama administration, and I think it was the first Obama administration when this stopped working. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's never worked, but I think it's been this long. Oh yeah, here we are. Jones previously blamed U.S. immigration policy under former President Barack Obama for the slayings of 2 Northern California deputies in 2014. So I guess it was the second Obama administration. But this has been going on for a while. And the supervising attorney, Grizzle Ruiz, he's the supervising attorney for the Immigrant Legal Resource Center, said that gun control and domestic violence appear to be the central issues, not his immigration status. If anything, the immigration status is just the icing on the cake, that we need to keep track of these people, and that the local police need to notify ICE when they get out.
Well, this all takes you back to a book, and I've actually interviewed this guy. He's a hell of a great guy. The book is Warnings Unheeded: Twin Tragedies at Fairchild Air Force Base. The author is Andy Brown, and we're going to have to leave it on this note. The book details a case where a mass shooter, and this is a true mass shooting up in Spokane, Washington. A guy was going off the rails and was going off the rails for a very long time, left warning signal after warning signal after warning signal. He was going to go off. And he did, and Andy Brown was the security officer that eventually stopped him with a lethal shot. Also, there was a Air Force pilot that during the same week kept doing more and more and more dangerous things in a B-52 bomber, giving signals that this guy was losing control, and doing more. Alexa, stop! Doing more and more dangerous things. And this guy, the same week, wrecks a B-52 and kills everybody on board. But the same thing, the same theme runs through both. That warning after warning after warning on both of these people were ignored. And the message is, follow the warnings. If the warning is there, do something about it. In this case and in so many, this guy gave so many warnings. I'm going to do bad things. And the state of California, the police department, our hands are tied. We're a sanctuary state. Yeah, you killed those kids, California.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking something, but I know we got to go.
All right, yeah, we are, a minute? We can do 1 or 2 more minutes if you got something pressing, man.
Nothing. I was just thinking of something when you were talking about this, but I forgot what it was.
Okay. All right. Charlie,
squirrel.
Riding Shotgun with Charlie. A new one comes out tomorrow.
Frank Tate is my passenger. It's episode 140. Frank Tate. I interviewed him in Philadelphia a couple weeks ago, and he talks about his plans to correct the NRA and to get them to come around to be more responsible, to have a smaller board, and to be more strategic and less tactical. So please check it out on YouTube and in podcast form.
Very cool. And for those of you catching us live, check back in 27 and a half minutes over on the SAF's YouTube and Facebook page, where we will be doing the Polite Society podcast. We're going to have Mary Forges. She's one of the ladies that was in the DC Project video that I've been playing lately. She'll be telling her story and how she went from gun owner to stopping her own attacker with her gun, and then on to a gun rights activist. So come join us for that in 27 and a half minutes. For now, thank you for watching.